hope you had a great weekend. So before we get started, I need to remind you about your Pete's Pals. I hope that you cut out your Pete the cat and are doing some fun adventures with him. Don't forget to upload those pictures for me. I'd love to see them. Today is Math Monday, yay! And we have a brand new concept or a brand new math thing, I guess you could say, that we need to learn, and it is telling time. There are two typical kinds of clocks that you'll find around your home and in stores and businesses and things like that, and that is a digital clock like this, like you could find on your phone. Then there is a clock like this. We call it analog, and it has a face and it has two hands, maybe even three hands. We're only going to talk about the two hands of the analog clock. So let's get started. Let's learn how to tell time. We're going to start with this guy. When you're looking at a digital clock, you're going to see one number, then you're going to see two dots, and then you're going to see two more numbers, and then possibly some letters right here. Let's go through each piece and learn about it. This is going to tell you, the first number is going to tell you the hour it is. Right now you can tell I am teaching this lesson at 8 o'clock. This is going to tell you the minute, and it could be anything from 1 all the way to 59. These second numbers could be. Then my last thing is, my phone is, it's being tricky. Let's see if I can turn it back on here. Then the last piece is the AM and PM, and that's going to tell you if it's morning or night right here. And PM means it's nighttime. AM means it's morning. And that's a concept that you'll learn a little bit more in first and second grade when PM shifts to AM. That's a little bit more information than we need to work on right now. But for our digital clock, very simple. 8:16 in the evening. Easy, right? Why don't you put pause and go take a look at your stove or your microwave or maybe even your refrigerator or even someone's phone. Pause and go take a look. Did you see? What numbers did you read? What was the first number? Then there were two dots, and what was the second two numbers? Let's practice a few right here. If you ran and looked at the clock and you saw a number 1, I'm erasing my whiteboard, and you saw a number 1 like this. 1, and then there's my two dots. And let's do a 2 and a 3. What time would it be? Yes, 1:23. Very good. Very easy. It's like you're reading numbers. Let's do it again. Maybe you're watching this video in the early morning and it is 9:40. That's what 9:40 would look like. 9:40, 9:40. Let's do one more. Maybe you've had a long day and you're just getting home. Maybe you just finished dinner, so maybe it's a little later in the evening. And I'm going to say it's this time. What time is this? 7:35. You're right. And remember, there's going to be a 7:35 a.m., which is in the morning, and there's going to be a 7:35 p.m., which is in the evening. This part right here, we're not going to worry about quite yet, but just know there's going to be a morning and a night at the same time. Okay, let's talk about our analog clock, or the, you we could call it old-fashioned clock. Lots of watches have this. You might see them in a big grandfather clock that has the swinging weight to it. So on an analog clock, you're going to see numbers from 1 all the way to 12. And you're going to see two hands. We're only going to talk about the two hands. Do you notice what's different about these two hands? What's different about them? Yes, one is longer and one is shorter. Well, the short hand is going to be just like that first number. The short hand is going to tell you the hour. The long hand is going to tell you the minutes. So if I have my shorthand on an 11, what is the hour? It's 11 o'clock. What about if I do this? I'm going to cover this one up because we'll talk about that one in a minute. What time is it? 8 o'clock. Good. Let's swing it way over here. Maybe here. Yes, 4 o'clock. Good. Now, this hand is a little bit more complicated. What it's going to do is it's going to spin. Got to go the right way. It's going to keep going like this. And every minute, it's going to hit a different notch at the top. So, it's going to go ding, ding. Do you see how it hits each notch? Ding, ding. And then it's hit 5 minutes. Every section that is marked with a number is 5 minutes. We're going to do it again. Bing, 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 bing. 5 more minutes. So that's going to go all the way around your clock, and it's going to start back up at 12. Now, we're only going to talk about the hour because as this moves around, this other hand actually is going to move too. Not quite like that. But let's talk about only the hours. When it changes to a new hour, say from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, it is going to, the minute hand is going to hit 12 again. So for instance, if it was 1 o'clock, this is what 1 o'clock looks like. The minute hand needs to be straight up at number 12 on your clock, straight up. Your hour hand is going to be pointing to the hour that it is. Now, as this goes around, it's so funny because my camera's backwards, so my hands want to go the other way. It's going to go and go and go and go all the way around. And then when it comes back up, the long hand comes back up to the 12. It's going to be 2 o'clock. Okay, then we'll do it again. It's going to swing around. Once it gets all the way around, it's at 3 o'clock. Every time the long hand hits 12, it is going to be an hour's worth of time. This is 3 o'clock. What would this be? 4 o'clock. 5 o'clock. 6 o'clock. Good. Now that is just a kind of a quick overview of telling time. I have a really fun activity for you guys to practice telling time. I have linked the story, The Grouchy Ladybug by Eric Carle, and I love that story. I love the story, but I also love how Eric Carle incorporated time. So here's what I'd like to ask you to do. I want you to watch the story, and I want you to have a piece of paper, or, you know, if you were Miss B, you could have a whiteboard and a pencil. And you're going to record all the time that is written in the story. For instance, the story starts, I think, at 5 o'clock. So I would draw a clock, and I would show the long hand at the top and the short hand at 5 o'clock, kind of like this. Or I could do a digital clock and it would look like this. I want you to try to record every time that is in the story, and you will see it shows a whole day. At the very top of each page there is a clock, and a clock like this, a clock with a face, and you can double check to make sure your clock matches Eric Carle's clock. Can you do that for me? Just as a fun way to practice. All right. It is time to check on our caterpillars. Yes, I didn't get any name ideas, so we will just have to, they'll just have to not have names, but that's okay. We can call them all painted ladies. You ready? I'm going to turn off my teacher light. Oops. Let's see if you can see him. They are enormous. Look at that. In your lesson today, I have took some pictures of what they look like a couple of days ago. You can really see, especially if you zoom in, you'll be able to see all those little fine hairs. So take a look at them, and now I will take some more pictures of how big they are. They are giant, and they've it looks like they've changed colors, but you know what, my friends, they haven't. The reason why they're a little lighter is because now those hairs have spread out more. The tiny little spikes, you thought they look like spikes, they were hairs. Now they have spread out more, and you can tell they're hairs by the color. There's also something else unique going on in there. Do you see there's a couple black spots? And you might be thinking that that is a caterpillar, but it isn't. Do you see right here? That is actually skin. Caterpillars grow by molting. And what that means is when they're tiny and they need to get bigger, they have to kind of unzip their skin and crawl out so that they can grow bigger. It's called molting. And they leave behind the sloughed off skin, the skin that they grew out of. So that's what those little chunks are. You can see a lot more silk in there. They're hanging in all kinds of different directions. And this guy is kind of crawling. Oh, sorry. This guy's kind of crawling in a J shape. Very fun. They're getting so big. Now, if you were thinking maybe if you as a family wanted to do some caterpillars, I will also link where I bought my caterpillars, and maybe you guys can do raise your own caterpillars this summer. I will give you all the information in our email. It's magical to see how they go from, do you remember? Caterpillar to chrysalis to I almost said ladybug again, to butterfly. It would be wonderful for your whole family to get to see it, but if not, we'll continue to do it in here, and I promise they will be we'll get to see all the stages before we finish for the summer. All right, guys, you have your Grouchy Ladybug video and your activity. You have 2 more math review worksheets. These are always optional. It's just a great way to review. There is an addition butterfly worksheet where you get to put in the markings, like the little polka dots of a butterfly wing, and add them together. And then there's also a subtraction story problem, which is something that Big Brother and Big Sister, someone can help you read it, and then you're going to have to do the subtraction, which means, remember, taking away a certain number from the original number. So that is your lesson for today. I hope you have a lot of fun, and I will see you guys on Wednesday. Bye.